You don't have to worship me. I don't want that. Just give credit where it's due. But he mentioned in his video, this guy, Michael Bamber, that he watched a couple of videos in the mentorship, and because he had experience already, he's like, well, let me go out there and just try to test it right now. That's a mistake. And so many people, not just with my concepts, but everything. And I did the same thing as a new guy. When I was 20 years old, I was buying books and courses and such. And real quick, let me plug this. One of the students sent me a DVD version of Larry Williams' Confidential Trading Course. You know, the one I told you I had VHS. I played it so many times it wore out. And I wish I had been able. I could tell you verbatim what he's going to say because I've watched it so many times. But it's such a nostalgic piece of my coming up. It's just I wish I would have had it. Well, this gentleman purchased it for me and sent it to me. I'm so thankful. I haven't watched it yet, but I bought everything. Okay, I bought every single thing out there and every book that was supposedly hot and teaching this and teaching that. And as soon as I read a chapter and I thought I saw something in there, I was like, I'm going in there. I'm going to do it today. I would turn my Metastock program on, pull up the chart, and I'd go in there and I'd start putting orders in. And then I would fail because I'm interested in getting what? Instant gratification. And unfortunately, social media has adopted this mindset where that's a normal thing and you should pursue that. No, 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 no. In investing and trading, there's such a high degree of risk. And this is the reason why I teach the way I teach, that you shouldn't be in here trying to double your account or having astronomical monthly returns or weekly returns or daily returns or 200 to 1. I never preach that. You can do very, very well with 1 to 1, 2 to 1, and 3 to 1. But I personally try to teach my students aim for 5 to 1. Will they always get it? No. Will I always get it? No. So to build that mindset or expectation into students is foolish as a mentor, and I never do that. So I talk about how you're going to lose all the time. You're going to lose money. You learn with me, you're going to lose money. You're going to make money if you do the right things, but that right thing has to be a unique experience for you. You may not like that fair value gap. You may not be able to see it because you see all kinds of gaps and you think, okay, well, ICT mentioned a breakaway gap, a measuring gap, an exhaustion gap, and a common gap. Which fair value gap is that one? Well, that comes with experience and knowing what these price swings look like from all higher time frame down to lower time frame. So back to this guy, Michael Bamber. He rushed in, and I'm only going by what he said in his video. Okay, so it might have been a unique experience at that time. He's probably done better since then. I have not watched anything except for that one video, but it struck me as this is something that even my private mentorship students, when they were getting new content each month, they would go out and rush right into trying to use it and then send me an email or post in the forum when they became a charter member. I tried to use this and this was a struggling point for me, or it didn't work for me. And other people would come behind, well, I'm using it and here's my examples of it. So again, that kind of cancels out that they fail as concepts. It goes back to the very painful reality that it's you. When I lose money, it's my fault. When you lose money, it's your fault. When I make money, it's my victory. When you make money, it's your victory. It's not a high five moment for, thanks, ICT, high five. I didn't do that for you. You took the risk on when you took the live trade. That's why I tell you, you will determine when you want to transition from a demo account or paper trading into live account trading. I never, ever tell any of my students to do that. It's a personal moment where you know where it's going to happen, but you need to defer that. And the problem with this right now, give me a quick, study approach where I get it. Everybody wants to start making, everybody wants to live a fast life. But let me tell you something. I've made so much more money teaching than I did trading. I can tell you honestly, that's what 99.999999999% of everybody on social media, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, all of them made majority of, if not all of their money from teaching. And I'm honest. I'm telling you that's the reality of it all. But I'm also the same guy that said, but I don't need to do that. I'm done. I showed you I can walk away from it, so you can trust me as a mentor. I'm not trying to fleece you. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you do well. but you have to listen to the boring stuff. You have to get through those monotonous rants where it feels like get to the point. The point is you're going to you're going to endure moments where it's going to feel like it doesn't work, or you're going to have questions about why doesn't this concept work in this instance. If you realize what I'm talking about when I'm doing these discussions, I'm fortifying you mentally to be able to endure that, because that's where everybody quits. Those moments, that's where everybody loves it. They're walking around with perpetual erections, in the male category of my students when they're making money. They're walking around, and I'm gonna tell you something. When they do the right things with ICT concept, that is Viagra. Okay, guaranteed, girlfriends and wives are satisfied. Okay, they're getting everything they hoped for the weekend or that evening. But when they don't listen to sound logic, okay, it's dysfunction. It's dysfunction. And it takes the wind out of your sails completely. And for those of you that are male, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You could be going to the gym working out. You could be fit as a fiddle. You could be having the right duds. You could be dressed out and macked out with all the nice whips and cars, and you're doing well. But when you lose and you know you did it to yourself, it sucks. You don't want to be looked at by anybody else. You don't want to be judged by anybody else. You don't even want to talk about charting. You don't even talk about trading. You want to ignore it. Well, those moments, unless you rein that in properly, that will lead into a tailspin, because you're going to want to fix that bad feeling, that toxic feeling of, in a small little segment of failure. That's not the end of your career. But if you have not been properly mentored and spoken to with mindset, how do you wrestle with the struggles of doing this? Because it's one thing to talk about this is what works in this instance in the marketplace. But what happens when you do it wrong, understandably, in the beginning, because you're learning, you're getting an experience. Every time you sit down and you study the market, if you're using that 2022 mentorship model, you have a specific expectation in the marketplace. And every transaction and time invested, you're getting experience from it. It may not be a positive one where you come out where, oh, I would have made money if I would have did this. If you go into this initially expecting that as a constant or majority of the results, you're going to be discouraged. Why? Doesn't this stuff work, Michael? Yes, it does. But it works well in the hands of an apt pupil, someone that's been doing all the things, taking notes, studying, using all the supportive lessons beyond the first 5 or so videos in that mentorship series. I saw a young man tweet to me the other day. He said, "Yeah, I watched the first couple of videos and I figured it out from that point on. I'm doing great." I don't like those comments, and I'm not going to high five that, because you don't know what you're doing. And I have no problem telling you that. And it's my content. You don't know what you're doing. Okay. If I thought it was just the first few videos that were necessary, that's all I would have done. But you need supportive understanding and things that you're going to encounter. When does a fair value gap likely fail? When do you classify it as something other than a trade entry or target? These are all going to be problems for you when you start pushing a button, whether it be demo, paper trading, or foolishly entering into live trading too soon. You want to go in with your mission statement read every single time before you watch a video. So that way you're reminding yourself, okay, I can talk about a lot of things, and you will be able to filter out the things where I'm talking about other people, because I got to get it off my chest, and reminding everyone that this is really where you're supposed to be finding it from, not watered down versions of it. But then you'll go into harvesting and pulling out the things that the meat. You'll get to what it is, the point. Everybody's saying get to the point. The point is you're getting the stuff that makes you better as a trader, because I've already taught you how to trade. I've taught everybody how to do that. But how do you become a consistently profitable trader? Well, excuse me, you get that by listening to someone that's endured lots of losing, and the things that I did to stem that and keep it at bay, and also in many ways understand the pitfalls that lead to that. And that stuff, when you're young as a developing student, and this is for the females too, not just the males. I'm not beating up on you guys only. This culture that we have today, it is give it to me right now. And if you can't give it to me right now, I'm unsubscribing. Good, unsubscribe. Because the way I teach, I do it in such a way where I'm filtering people out. And that pisses people off. And I want them to lose their mind initially, because if you're going to lose your mind about me and how I teach, because I know how this is learned, I know how it's taught properly, but I also know there's going to be problem personalities that are going to be problem traders. And the problem traders are going to be the ones that complain and say, oh, you're a fraud. Oh, your shit doesn't work. Oh, you never do this. And oh, you never do that. But 2022, I came out with all the receipts. And now people all around the world are doing it too. So there's no way, absolutely fucking no way anybody can stand anywhere. And I'm ready for it. I'll trade in fucking court. Okay, I will do it. I will bring my fucking shit and I will show everybody. Everybody in there will be fucking watching my YouTube channel. The judge will be fucking subscribed to fucking YouTube. I don't give a fuck. Let's go. But there are people that are not mentally prepared to suffer in their own hands. And that's what you're going to do as a trader. And nobody says it like that, but that's exactly what it is. You put yourself, I put myself, we all put ourselves in situations where it absolutely is painful and loss will be the result. There is not ever been a trader that has ever gone out there and done it 100%. I lose. Okay. I get it wrong sometimes. Okay. Bottom line is it doesn't kill me to the point where I'm going to give up or toss out the concept. You know, that model, that 2022 model, it can look like it's really in the chart and your analysis line up like, hey, man, I'm going to do this trade. And you put the trade on, whether it's paper, demo, or live, and it will fail sometimes. It didn't fail. You did. When I do it wrong, I do it wrong. And I record it that way in my journal. You need to record it in your journal that way too. If you do that, number one, it teaches and fortifies personal responsibility. And when you're basically inputting that in your journal, every single time you do it, you're going to have also increments where you'll have it done right. And that's the key. That's the superpower juice, if you want to call it, that keeps you going. Because I could tell you anything in these rants and these discussions that you might find encouraging. You might find that that little nudge that you need to keep going. No problem. But even me talking to you and encouraging you won't take away every bit of it. It just distracts you from what you were thinking and feeling. And when you stop listening to these things, you'll remember that you did major damage to yourself. You overtraded. You did more trades than you should have. You listened to somebody else on social media.